get that really in tune?
See, a little dangerous, a little knowledge is dangerous. You guys saw the last half hour, we did an hour and a half of offense. So what we're trying to do is kind of balance it out every practice, you know. But obviously, you know, the reason we won the game Monday night, the reason we played really well in the second half is defensively we were really good, and that led to offensively we were really good. So like any really good team, I think, most of what you do really, really well on the offensive end starts on the defensive end. And, you know, we got some young guys that this is kind of new to them. We have some things that we have to try to, you know, work through. So, you know, just try a little bit every day and try to get better every day.
All the sex, you sense all the panic.
What's that?
I said you felt the sex, you sense all the panic.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't sleep last night. I went to go see somebody this morning, and they assured me that it's okay. I mean, I really struggled, though. It was really hard. I went to the drugstore, I got some medicine. I went to go see somebody. They told me, it's okay. It's okay. You know? So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that this too shall pass.
Liv played well again. Mm-hmm. Can you feel a consistency building with her finally?
It's no mystery, you know. Ever since Tuesday after whenever we practiced, it might have been Wednesday. Ever since the Wednesday after the Oregon game, Liv has been completely different than at any time since she got here at Connecticut in terms of what her practice habits are. How she's approaching every practice, how she's approaching every drill, how she's going about her, you know, her daily preparation to play. And it shows in the games. And that should be a lesson to like everybody that plays basketball, that if you put the time in and if you put the work in and, you know, you commit yourself to it, good things are going to happen.
Because we were coming before practice early in the year, we always saw her out here working with CD. Uh-huh. So it didn't sound right when you were saying she was so awful because she was putting in extra time before practice.
Right.
Was it just that she would start pouting during practice?
Yeah, she was putting in some time before practice. But then during practice, if things didn't go exactly the way she wanted them to go, the demeanor that she had was not conducive to being a good player. So that's changed completely. And the results are what they are.
Do you think she's on a growth pattern where she'll be a bigger factor against some of the bigger, stronger post players she's had trouble with earlier?
I would think so. You know, plus she's going to need some help down there, you know. And to her defense, it's pretty hard to be successful when in some of those big games we shoot 20% from the floor. So it'll be interesting that when those shots start dropping and she's more one-on-one in the post, how things change.
She's a better player.
Yeah, all of a sudden she becomes a better player. So yeah, she's going to need a little bit of help, and except for the 3 games that, what was it, 3 or 4 games maybe that she started last year when Lou was out. I mean, this is relatively new for her, you know. And you know, I remember when Stephanie was here with him, and it was like, wow, you know, she didn't even notice her struggles because she happened to have Maya. So sometimes, you know, it just depends on who you got out there with you and how successful you can be. Depends on how good everybody else is around you. And as everybody gets a little bit better. But you know, right now I'm just working on her. I'm just working on, you know, trying to get her in the right mindset to, you know, make little victories, like not getting herself out of the game with fouls the other day after she got her third, and staying with it, and finishing through contact, Those are learning things. Liv's never going to be, some, huge post player that just carves out lots of space and you can't get around her, and that's not who she is. That's not who she's going to be. So, she's got to find their own identity as to how the game's going to be played for her, and she's going to keep getting better and better and better.
Geno, you mentioned in South Carolina that it makes sense for Crystal to be able to play well in a game like that. She's been here for 4 years.
Yeah.
As a senior, she's capable of that. What do you make of her development over the years, and is there any player she reminds you of the way she's come along in that regard?
Again, I think so much of it is being around. The only player I've ever seen that can do things single-handedly from that position has been D, and there's only one D. So when you're playing that position and you're dependent so much on what's going on around you, so you get a lot of assists. How come? Because guys finish. The ball goes in the basket, so all of a sudden you're leading the country in assists. What else? You got a lot of guys making shots, or at least two more guys. So now all of a sudden you're more open. There's so much that goes into being really, really good at that position, and we've had just scorers at that position. We've had non-scorers at that position. We've had great shooters at that position. We've had okay shooters at that spot. We've had great defenders at that spot. We've had okay defenders at that spot. I think Crystal is pretty good at all those things. She's pretty good at all those things. There's days and there's weeks in practice where she'll go and not miss a single open shot. And then there's times when she gets, I want to pass the ball now. I want to, not take all those open shots. And lately I've been telling her, what are you going to save them for next year? So we're trying to get her to be as aggressive as possible. And I think that's going to work. We just need a little bit of help from everybody else. I think a best case scenario for somebody like Crystal would be 15 points and 7 assists, because then that means a whole bunch of other guys are making shots. If it's 28 every night, that's a bad night for us, So, and then the other thing we talked about is, teams have gotten really, really hot and made a lot of noise late in the season just on the strength of one guard. I know we did it with D, but again, there's only one D. So the more aggressive Crystal is, the more she's looking to attack every time she touches the ball, I think the better basketball team we are.
You've seen her take ownership over the team this season as senior point guard. I know that was something beforehand you were looking for her to
that's
do.
not, and again, that's not really her. We talk about this a lot. That's not really who she is. You can only be what you are. You can't all of a sudden become something that isn't authentic and genuine for you. So she's more of I want to lead by example. I want to make a play, or I want to get a steal, or I want to do something, and then I want everybody to kind of fall in line with that. She's not a natural get everybody together and boom, 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 and get after them really, really hard. Or I think that's not natural for her. So I would say maybe the last month or so, at least, she's kind of stepped outside herself and become more of that. And the more of that she becomes, the easier it is for us to do some of the things that we need to do.
Anyone who's,
What do you?
anyone who spends 4 years in a program is going to come out the other end a different player, a different person.
I hope so.
With her specifically, how is she different as a player and person than she was maybe coming down the stretch of her freshman year?
She's made a great transformation in that when Crystal was a freshman, I equated to like great track stars, you know, from what I hear from people that coach track, you know. If there's an ingrown toenail, they're not running for a month because everything's got to be exactly perfect 100% because they're so fine-tuned in their bodies. Freshman year, Crystal, if things weren't exactly right, she ain't playing. She ain't practicing to, like, I'm waiting to be exactly right. And it finally dawned on her, listen, for the next 4 years, there's not going to be one day when you're exactly right. And now she doesn't want to come off the court. Now she wants to play 40 minutes every night. You know, now when you take her out, she's pissed. Now injuries don't, there's no such thing as an injury. There's no such thing as a migraine headache. There's nothing. I'm playing and that's all there is to it. So she's gotten way tougher. She's gotten more resilient. And that's what you want to see. You know, you want to see somebody grow as much mentally and be able to handle that as, you know, are they a better playmaker? Are they a better defensive player? And that you hope is, you know, the 4-year cycle, you know, a little bit more each year. And then the hardest part comes for kids in that situation. The hardest part comes when you look around and you say, man, when I was a freshman, whether I played well or didn't play well, we were going to be in the Final Four. Same sophomore year. And then last year, it hit her in that UCLA game. I gotta help win this game because Lou's not here tonight. And she did. She took over the game completely in the fourth quarter to put us in the Louisville game. And now she's in a season where that has to happen every single night against every good team. That's a big adjustment for kids, you know. And I think the thing you end up doing is you put a lot of pressure on yourself. It's like, I got to make this shot. Whereas, you know, if you have 3 guys all shooting 50% from the 3-point line, you don't worry about it so much, you know. So she's grown tremendously. She's changed so much. We said at the beginning of the season, how do we keep her out of practice enough so that we can run our stuff without her? And hasn't been the easiest thing in the world to do, but you know, it just takes time. But she's gotten there. Now it's just, you know, trying to finish it off the last couple months. Well, however long, month and a half, however. Month and a half.
What do you attribute, you kind of were talking about how she's really changed over the last month. What do you think finally clicked, or was the go switch? Was it just realizing she's got to take over?
Well, I mean, you have a month left in your season. You have a month left in your career. So obviously, you know, you start to see things through a different light, and you start to want to do more. You start to look around and say, what else can I do? How many other things can I impact? And to me, that's the sign of somebody who's been paying attention for 4 years. It's just not easy, you know. We have, you know, between Liv and Aubrey and Anna. We have a lot of players that this is foreign territory for them. So it's a lot on her shoulders, and she's realized it now. Not that she didn't realize it before, but it takes on more of a sense of urgency now.
How have you, kind of on that, the other seniors, how have you seen them respond and rally? Kyla, Molly, Tulane?
It's interesting with Kyla and Molly because they've both, in their own way, done something on the court to help us win games. Whether it was when Crystal was out, and and Molly started those 2 games and played well and helped us. And I should probably keep throwing her out there. And Kyla started all those games and helped us. But there's only so much you can ask them to do because that's not their natural roles, especially if you're having trouble scoring. That's not the first 2 guys you look for to go out there and say, okay guys, I need you to get us double figures both of them. That's not their makeup here.
How about Julie, since we actually haven't even really asked you about it since she came back from her injury, and how's she physically doing?
It's not the same. It's not remotely the same. She's really she struggles to get up and down the floor. And you can see it when she's in the game. You can see it at practice every single day. So whatever she was at one point, it's been a real struggle to get back to that point, and it's not even close to being that. So it's unfortunate that that's the way it played out. It's been one injury after another since she's been here. But can't control that.
Have you seen her still kind of, it seems like whenever we see her, she's really still
Always.
part of a team.
Always.
So positive. And
It's
everything.
very positive, very upbeat, very energetic, just a lot of life in her, and it does carry over, it does kind of infect the rest of the team. So in that respect, even though it hasn't been on the court statistically, she's been a big contributor.
You talk about having basketball players and players who play basketball, and with Batuli, with all the injuries she has, it seems like she's very involved outside of the basketball court. So is there a sort of comfort in knowing that she's going to be fine once this basketball career is over?
Yeah, when you play basketball here, the whole point is you better be fine whether you're a good basketball player or not, because that's a temporary thing. When you leave here, you might have a pro career, or you might have basketball still in your future, but that future doesn't last forever. And I think the more you can be involved in other things, and she certainly has, in a lot of different things that add value to your life, and you bring value to the people that you interact with. So your contributions when you graduate don't all have to be on the court, and I think that's where her major contributions have been.